Chris Sims, Texas Longhorn apologist, Pro Football Talk Live co-host. How excited were you? Your Longhorns were going to beat Alabama. How excited was it at home?
It was awesome. It really was. It was great watching it. It was special. The stadium looked amazing, right? Mike, I don't know, Dan, call me crazy or whatever, but I'm like not even upset. I'm not. That was a victory to me. I mean, hey, we're relevant again. We're actually might be good again. I think that was the encouraging thing. I mean, we kind of looked the part. You know, Steve Sarkisian, I am a believer in him. I know he's one of the better offensive minds in college football. It just stunk that Quinn Ewers got hurt. I wanted to see that because he does have some special attributes with how he throws the ball. I wish he'd cut his hair, but damn, he can throw that football. So it really, to me, was a win. Even though it was a loss, it was a win, I think, overall for the program going forward.
Any doubts about Arch Manning coming in there? I know Quinn Ewers is there now, and he was the number one recruit in America, and he's going to lose his job. But any concerns that Arch comes in and he's not able to live up to what Texas fans expect?
Well, you know, I mean, I've lived that a little bit. I mean, there's that anywhere you go when you have the last name Manning, right? There is. And then when you couple in the fact that, yeah, there's a guy, Quinn Ewers, who, you know, we saw on social media in high school and even here just a little bit to go, whoa, this dude can throw the football, like legit, like has a big time arm. It's an NFL type arm for sure. So that would be my concern. You know, the other aspect of that is it's the Mannings, and they don't leave anything to chance. So there's a part of me that's also like, you know, Texas had to sign a contract. Like, he has to start by year 2 or we get control of the school and the stadium and whatever. You know what I mean? That's the way the Mannings are. They're just they're like that. So that's where I do it. But you're going to have competition and pressure wherever you go when you have the Manning family. Hey, when I went to Texas, I was the number 1 player in the country. The next year, we brought in like Chance Mock, who I believe was the number 1 quarterback in the country too. And it's just like, oh crap, gosh, I'm going to have to compete here. So you're going to have to deal with that when you go to a major school like that.
The difference between the quarterbacks tonight and Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes, the one thing Herbert does better than Mahomes and the one thing that Mahomes does better than Herbert.
Great question. These for my money are the 2 of the 3 best quarterbacks in the game, and you add in Josh Allen to that. I think that's, you've seen my rankings, and we've talked about it in the spring. I think those are the 3 best in the game. This is where I would say there's a difference. Herbert in the I call him the machine. When the pocket's clean and he's sitting there, big soldier, and he looks like a machine because he's so big with the square shoulders, he hits the bullseye almost every throw. So he is, to me, better in that environment than Mahomes. And we're talking about great versus great here. So it's not like it's Mahomes is weak in this category. But I would give Herbert the credit of pocket clean, got to hit the bullseye, 15-yard in cut, 20-yard out route, boom, he's going to hit it every time. Mahomes, I think, has the vice versa advantage of that when pocket's not clean, or I got to fade away or float or throw a sidearm ball on a 20-yard out route. That's, to me, he's maybe the most gifted guy we've ever seen do that. He's like an artist that way. So that would be the difference there. But we know that, both of these guys can pretty much do whatever they want on the football field.
What's Josh Allen do better than those 2 quarterbacks?
Ooh, he's a little bit of a mixture of both, where I'd go,
he runs better.
He runs better for sure, right? I mean, he's a force of nature. Other than Lamar Jackson, Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts, I don't know if there's another force better than Josh Allen as far as a runner.
But how did we miss Josh Allen? He wasn't a big-time recruit in high school.
Right.
He wasn't, a big-time player at Wyoming. I mean, he was a curiosity there.
Yeah.
When he lost his talent, he didn't really have a good final year there. But you still had teams that were kind of fawning all over him.
Yeah.
His first year, he didn't look good. What was your review of Josh Allen coming into the NFL?
Well, my review of him. We discussed this a little bit. I thought he was the number 1 quarterback in the draft.
I'm letting you take a victory.
No, I know. No, I know. I wasn't trying to be a jerk. I know.
I'm John Stockton. You can be Karl Malone. I'm just giving you a bounce pass. Just make
boom,
the layup.
I'll hit that 12-footer all day long.
All
boom, right there. Yeah.
Okay.
But yes, I love Josh Allen coming out. As we have discussed so many times in our history and being together, we look at wins and stats a little too much and lose the context of the situation a little bit. And that's, to me, what happened with Josh Allen a little. One, the talent jumped off the screen. The ability to run and do all that, the ability to throw the ball really wherever he wants. There was all this talk about accuracy, and I kept going, nah, I don't really see an accuracy problem. I see a guy that sometimes thinks he can fit the ball into every window in the history of the world, right? But there were so many plays where I'd go, oh, yeah, that was incomplete, but damn, he fit it in between those three guys and put it right where he wanted to. And it bounced off the receiver's head, or, there was just too much traffic in there and he just dropped the ball, let alone he was playing up in Wyoming where there was crazy weather conditions. Mm-hmm. And then I also got into the fact of the completion percentage. I went, man, did they ever give the guy an easy throw or do anything? And I compared him to that year with Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold, who threw an average of 7 or 8 screens a game. And I went, well, if he threw 7 or 8 screens a game, his completion percentage would have been up around 67, 68%, and maybe that wouldn't have been a question, let alone to your point, Dan. The support system around him was crappy. It didn't present itself. And then I think they kind of gave him a green light a little bit to hey, do whatever you want because we can't win unless you make magic happen. Yeah. And that kind of led into some bad habits as well. So that's what I saw. But yeah, it came out again this week a little bit. I know that the Seattle Seahawks wanted to trade Russell Wilson to the Cleveland Browns because they wanted to take Josh Allen with the number 1 pick the year that the Cleveland Browns took Baker Mayfield. And then, Josh Allen, extremely smart guy too. That's the one thing I think gets a little lost in translation because we see a great talent and we just go, oh, he's talented. But anybody you talk to, his testing before the draft was off the charts and all that stuff. And, of course, he's picking up offenses left and right here in the NFL. And he's almost a combination of Herbert and Mahomes in a way, Dan, to get back to that original question. Maybe not as good as the sidearm stuff as Mahomes, but just a little below. Maybe not as good as the machine like Herbert in the pocket, but just a little below. And then his ability to run, power football and scramble. I mean, come on. Have we ever seen a quarterback stiff arm a safety in the NFL and throw him on the ground and get a first down? I mean, that was insane stuff what we saw, in the opener.
But I wonder if you go back and revisionist history, if you said Seattle was going to trade Russell Wilson to Cleveland in his prime for the Wyoming quarterback, they would have gotten roughed up. Now, we look back now, and it's revisionist history.
Right.
I mean, it's good that Josh Allen didn't go to Seattle. The way Pete Carroll wants to win, he wouldn't have been taking advantage of all the attributes that Josh Allen has. But looking back, Seattle made the right move, I think, keeping Russ, because Josh Allen was an unknown. You can look at all the talent.
Sure.
Like Jadeveon Clowney. Remember his pro day? I had people at the mothership frothing, slobbering all over it. I've never seen something like this. And I went, okay. He had one great play in college, and that was the bowl game against Michigan.
Yeah,
Slow down. He doesn't have any lower body strength. I mean, you had guys who played the game, who were like Teddy Bruschi. They're like, I haven't seen anything like this before. We get caught up in this.
We do.
I mean, he's had a nice career, but it's just, I think we always want to be the first to say, we got to beat everybody to the punch. I saw him before. It's like you have a favorite band. I saw U2 when they played in front of 22 people. I saw Dave Matthews at a frat party, So,
yes.
I don't know what
I know. I think your point is there. I get what your point is. I don't know either. You're right. The fact that he got to Buffalo and McDermott, this is where I think it is amazing. And I talked about this with Josh Allen in my long interview a little bit before the season on my podcast and stuff. Because that's one of the, we don't see defensive coaches a whole lot just go, hey, offensive quarterback, do whatever the hell you want, and we're just going to go with you.
Yeah.
And that was special. And you're right. I don't know if Pete Carroll would have ever done that. I do think that the Seattle Seahawks and Pete Carroll for a while were looking to replicate what they did originally with Russell Wilson. Get a quarterback on a rookie contract, right? And let's build the team around it because I'm not all about the quarterback in Seattle here, and let's try to do it that way. But it's hard to do that, to your point, when you go, whoa, Russell, he's damn good, and he's so clutch, and he helped us win a lot of games after the Legion of Boom fell off because he was so good. So I hear you there. That's a tough one, and I don't know if it would be the same Josh Allen if he was up there in Seattle.
He's Chris Sims. He works for Pro Football Talk Live, and it's the show before ours on Peacock. Explain the Chiefs' offense without Tyreek Hill and how it could be better than it was.
Yeah. I'm one that's kind of been. I think it's going to be better. I've been kind of saying that all offseason. We'll see. I mean, it's dicey. I mean, Tyreek Hill is special. I know that. There's no question. I think where I look at it is, I don't think I think the offense by committee can be a blessing really for the Chiefs offense and for Mahomes a little bit. There definitely was times last year where he tries to force it to Tyreek Hill too much or makes decisions just based off of that. I also think that with Tyreek Hill and the fact that they always felt like, hey, we got to get him and Kelsey the football, that, and I've talked to defensive coaches about this a little bit. You had a little feel for, oh, wait, Tyreek's in the slot. They're going to kind of run these plays. Oh, wait, Tyreek's the outside of three receivers. They're going to kind of go to these plays. And I think where they have an advantage right now is you don't know. You can't, other than Kelsey, you can't really figure out who's being used for what and what's going on there. And they got a lot of guys that are very good at the receiver position. They got some tight ends, too, to go along with Kelsey, where I think they're going to be able to play some 2 and 3 tight end sets this year and be annoying that way. So, and I also think, like the Bills, the Chiefs are a team on a mission. They are. They look the part to me. They look like they're pissed off about losing the AFC Championship game. Andy Reid and Veach have done a very good job of kind of retooling that team on the fly there. But I think that's my kind of, sum up of the Chiefs offense. It's a little hard to tell how they're going to attack you without Tyreek Hill now.
Boy, it feels like we moved on from the Rams quickly.
I know.
Right?
I know. Yes, it does.
Like a national TV loss or win really amplifies the good or the bad. But what are your bigger concerns about the Rams this season?
My bigger concerns, and I picked the Rams to go to the playoffs, but I picked them to go as like a 6th seed, right? And again, it's hard to replicate going back-to-back Super Bowls like we talked about. But my biggest thing is, that playing in a tough division, they lost some real difference makers on their football team. OBJ, Von Miller, Darius Williams. They lost some good role players too, and Troy Reader, right? Sebastian Joseph Day lost to Whitworth retired. Austin Corbett got traded to the Carolina Panthers. So there's this new offensive line there. I don't know if Jalen Ramsey's quite as good as he used to be. I love me some Jalen Ramsey, but I'm not sure he's like the best corner in football anymore. Or if he is, there's a lot of people competing with him there. So that's what scares me about the Rams a little bit. Stafford's elbow not being there, them not getting to practice. So I look at that and just go, I don't think they're as dominant up front on either side of the ball. That's what scares me. I still think they're going to be a pain in the butt, and McVay's a hell of a coach, but I don't see like Super Bowl in the globe this year, or in the what do they call that, magic ball or whatever for the Rams.
The Seahawks-Broncos ending. You had a rookie head coach, Nathaniel Hackett, who said, here's our strategy. We wanted to get to the 46-yard line, which I don't know why with Russell Wilson you go, no, we got to get to the 46. I don't think that should be your philosophy. And I said, this is why you got Russ. If I have Drew Lock, I'll get to the 46 and we'll try to kick a field goal. I have Russell Wilson. Why the hell am I spending $250 million to go, Russ, thank you. Some nice parting gifts. Mr. McManus, go out there and kick a field goal.
Yeah, agreed on that point, totally. And then to add to that, like, the line of demarcation was, if we get to this place, we can maybe win the game with the second longest field goal in the history of football. That doesn't make sense. That process is flawed there. Yeah. Bill Belichick didn't go to 9 Super Bowls and all that going, well, if we just get to the place where I've seen my kicker make it one time before, we'll be good, right? The process is, we need to get to a place to where I think my kicker can be 4 for 5, right? From that. Maybe get to the 41 for a 57, 58-yard field goal. So that's where the first thing I just go, I don't buy it. And then the second thing is, I think a play was called. An offensive play was called. Russell Wilson was in the huddle too long, and he was giving a play. The left guard was looking back, waiting for Russell Wilson to lift his leg to call the snap. there was no drawing anybody offside. They weren't doing a snap count the whole game. They were lifting their leg. You couldn't hear anybody to draw any. So I think they're trying to CYA, cover their own ass here a little bit down the stretch a little. And I think the fact that the play got in late and things, and then I think he changed his mind a little bit. And that's unfortunate. It was a rookie mistake because it takes away from the Broncos offense looking about as good as it's looked since the Peyton Manning era, and the defense made great adjustments in the second half. The 2 fumbles at the goal line certainly were a big changing point in the game. But yeah, that decision takes away from a lot of good stuff I think the Broncos did there in the football game.
And it's a great notice by you that Russ was ready to call a play. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
No doubt about it. He was giving a signal and lining people up. That isn't, I'm jumping off sides. And they were in the huddle for a significant amount of time. He wasn't just going, jump off, don't jump offside, hard count, don't jump offside, hard count, and saying that for 20 seconds. No, he was spitting out a play for everybody. So, it's just, it was mishandled. There was problems with them getting the play in all game long. Hopefully they can fix that. I expect them to rebound in a big way against the Texans this week.
Oh, that's a real stretch by you.
I'm calling my shot, Dan.
Great to have you on, bud. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you, guys.
Chris Sims, Pro Football Talk Live with Mike Florio. That precedes our show on Peacock.